Hello everybody, and welcome. As you can see, looks like we're going to be doing another audio review tonight. Why? Because the camera is kind of messing up right now. I usually do it on there. It's starting to piss me off, so we're going to do an audio version of a review tonight. We are going to do the audio version of Hard to Kill, the Impact Wrestling pay-per-view that was tonight, and we got a lot to say about this pay-per-view, which was actually a really good show tonight too. So we're going to get really into this show. It was a lot going on, but the first thing I do want to address before I get into this whole Hard to Kill pay-per-view, of course, is the big controversy going on, because I could talk about this during the main event, but I want to keep the match and this separate from it. But let's talk about the Tessa Blanchard thing going on right now. This whole controversy or whatnot going over the weekend, and of her being accused of racism and bullying. And I want to go over this stuff, just to say what I got to say. I'm not jumping to conclusions on stuff, but let me go over everything before we get into this whole review itself. Because if you do not know what happened on Twitter over the weekend, Tessa said something saying, hey, women try supporting one another, cool things happen. And when she said that started a firestorm. Pretty much former employees that they were all Impact Wrestling at one point, but former, co-workers from Sienna to Chelsea Green to Rebel to, I think, Priscilla Kelly, I believe. Priscilla Kelly, if I'm not, or is that what was her name? Had said something about her over the weekend, and I just want to go over what they said real quick, because this is where a lot of the bullying and racism comes in. Because let me start Allison Kay, because she went on to say, remember when you spat in a black woman's face and called her the N-word in Japan? Was that you supporting women? The audacity of this tweet. The reason why I've never said anything until now is because it wasn't my story to tell. I made it clear to La Rosa that I had her back, and today was the day she gave me permission. You can't force someone to come forward. You can be there for them. That is supporting women. Chelsea Green pretty much went to say that you've constantly put down, bullied, and belittled countless female co-workers, including me. Is that support? And I think Chelsea Green was around during that whole situation that happened in Japan. One came from a Casey Michaels. She said, sure, hun, she bullied Renee Michelle. If you don't know who that is, you've seen her on Raw with, Rockstar Spud's wife. Renee Michelle, the indie show, and they've had a tussle of some sort. I figured that people involved in would know more details. And I think Tessa, she did respond to Chelsea Green, though, saying, I've never said anything but I've never been anything but kind to you. I've dealt with mean girls since I started, and that's saying I'm a saint. Hell, I've had my ups and downs. I've made silly decisions, such as life. You have zero merit in your comments, instead pulling me down here for a little clout. You've got my number. And I think she also responds saying, not true. That's my statement. And the most attention I'll give it because of how ridiculous it sounds. Well, ridiculous it is, she says in the tweet. So anyone saying so, yeah, Priscilla Kelly saying, remember publicly putting me down on Twitter last year for something that didn't involve you, would ever continue to drag me for it. Pepperidge Farm remembers. I'm not going to go through all the tweets and whatnot, but that is some of them and multiple. Now, I know other women said too, I'm not going to go through everyone's tweets, because I know Rebel said something. I saw they said Moose defended it. I think he said that, cause I think he responded to Allison Kay saying, I guess you and Chelsea Green are absolute angels with a clean past. The timing of these tweets from you guys shows a lot about your characters and whatnot. Now, this is what my take on this is and whatnot, because there's a lot to say about this whole situation, especially how it was going to play into the pay-per-view tonight itself. Okay, now, I will say this. Especially before this pay-per-view, the timing of this is pretty crazy. That's probably one of the strangest things to me, is that all of this happened 24 hours well, before, some would say the biggest match of this girl's entire career. So, in a way, I feel like this has came out of nowhere in some point. Now, I have heard the bullying things in the past with Tessa Blanchard or whatnot. I heard about the stories about her attitude, and I think that was a reason why a lot of people said she was not signed by WWE a while ago and whatnot, and because of the whole bullying thing. Now, because looking at it, it just like I said, it came out of nowhere, and I'm like, really, it's kind of strange this happens before the pay-per-view. But, because at first I'm like, okay, if all this stuff is true, I want to see proof. But at the same time, if the same multiple account of women are telling the same story and whatnot, either from the bullying, I'm going to get into the racist part thing too, but, the bullying thing and whatnot, something must be going on there. Listen, I'm not one to believe every accusation on everything, which, I know it's just accusation in general on anything and whatnot, because, it's like my friend brought up tonight to me, it's that cancel culture, thing and whatnot. Personally, I don't give a shit about the cancel culture, and they can fuck off, because I'm not really down with that cancel culture thing. It's like you just get mad for like somebody a few days, then you move on to the next person. But, the whole bullying thing, no, listen, this ain't the first time I heard of some bullying story in wrestling. I feel like that's gone on for years and whatnot, but I guess the people that she worked with, and these, like I said, most of these women she had worked with was in Impact, especially from Chelsea Green to Allison Kay, Rebel, and whatnot. They were all in the same company at one point. I know Tessa's still there, but they all worked together at one point, because even someone else brought it to me, it's like, why would somebody from, NXT who's in a better spot right now, why would they say something? Some people are going to say, why would they discuss all this on Twitter to begin with instead of doing this in private? But I guess they said it must have been such a hypocritical, when Tessa said that, women support each other, they just said that coming from this person, she ain't the right person to say it, after they responded and whatnot. But the bullying thing, no, like I said, I've heard stories for years just in wrestling and bullying in itself, and I already heard about some things in general, but that's nothing common, I believe. But I'm not saying it still shouldn't happen at the same time, no, because apparently Tessa must have just been being a prick to a lot of people. Now, as racist shit, I'm not gonna condone that, no, okay, because number one, I was like, I need to see proof of this, or I need to hear from the person that this happened to, which I believe that person did come out. I think it was La Rosa or Black Rose, because she thanked Sienna and Chelsea Green, saying that story. Yes, that happened in Japan in 2017. So this was not even that long ago, too. This ain't no long time ago. This is like, 2-3 years ago? And, Tessa Blanchard cannot remember it. Can I? I am not a mean girl with any coworkers around the world. Being kind of racist is not ridiculous. It's a sickness. See, now that is not, I'm not going to condone that part, okay? Now, because like I said before, I didn't need to see proof, or I need to hear this from the actual person to believe it, okay? Because the first thing I thought is like, why is all this stuff being said before the pay-per-view and whatnot? Now, I kind of feel bad for Impact, because now they have to deal with this bad press. Like, we're trying to do a pay-per-view here, and the next thing this shitstorm fucking happens and whatnot of just all allegations and whatnot. But the thing I've seen from people online is this, and I still think this is the stupidest bullshit thing they can think of, like, not seeing the point. All right? Because I don't want to sit here and hear that, well, she was in a relationship with Ricochet. She dated Ricochet. What the fuck that got to do with anything going on right now, okay? I don't care if she was with Ricochet, all right? Like, what? Cause I didn't know if Ricochet even black, and I just thought he was Mexican and whatnot, because I've seen the guy on, maybe he's mixed, I don't know, because I've seen him on, just pretty much speak Spanish on Lucha Underground when he was Prince Puma, so I didn't know if Ricochet was either black or Mexican, or just even both, okay? But still, it's just when people try to say, well, she was a Ricochet and she's engaged to Daga and whatnot. What does any of that have to do with anything? And, it's like some people say, because you with someone of a different race or whatnot does not, doesn't mean you still racist or whatnot. And you know, I don't know Tessa Blanchard. I don't like I said, it's not like I don't know this girl personally, because like I said, the most things I've seen people either respond on the internet saying like, well, she was a cool to meet in person. Yeah, and you know, she's meeting fans. There's a difference in that. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes in wrestling all the time and whatnot. And you know, that's why I was very narrowing it down to whatever website I read this thing from, because when I first heard about it, I heard about it yesterday and it was on Twitter, and then it just got on to multiple wrestling sites about all these accusations and whatnot. Okay, because like I said, when I read it, it's like I already said before, I need to see proof. And like I said before, if this girl really said this shit, she can go fuck herself, basically. Okay? That's plain and simple about that. Because most people are most likely not going to even fuck with Tessa Blanchard like that no more, because what was, heard over the weekend and whatnot. I just think the craziest part to me is that it happened 24 hours before the pay-per-view, because now people are going to pay more attention to this than the actual show itself, because people want to watch the hard to kill thing for the title match, and they just want to watch the show. Because now, me watching this show tonight, and that's why I'm still reviewing it, but I was thinking like, okay, what's the reaction this girl gonna get from all of this? This has happened throughout the weekend and whatnot, okay? Because like I said, this is some serious shit at the same time. Like I said before, yeah, I need to see proof, but if the same people are saying the same story, and they're all very similar to each other and whatnot, then that's got to tell you something. And like I said, I don't know every woman wrestler that is either said something, because like I said, there was a lot they said responded to it from either A, the racist situation, or B, just her, I guess, bullying other wrestlers in general. Now, I will say, it was one that did say something, what was it, Priscilla Kelly or whatnot. Now, if this is about that tampon spot she's talking about her being put down on Twitter last year, she kind of deserved that. That tampon shit was fucking stupid, and a lot of people buried her for that. So, yeah, I think she deserved that burial. But, to get back to my point, though, like I said, if multiple kind of people are saying the same thing, then something must be a truth to all this situation. And if the person that came out that this actually happened to, and they're coming out saying something, yeah, that shit's got to be true. So, yeah, like I said, you got to, that's why I'm saying something before I said anything to do with the Hard to Kill review itself. Because right now, I'm separating the wrestling to this situation and whatnot. Okay, good you are in the ring or whatnot. That's whole totally different subject. I'm talking about this, because now, I don't know what's about to happen to Tessa Blanchard next. I don't know if she's really about to be blackballed or nothing. I don't know. But like me and my friend Steven had this conversation earlier. This may go on probably about a week and it'll blow over. The only thing I've seen today is when someone called me and says, oh, she got kicked off a show, right? Some independent show. I guess that after what they heard, they don't want to mess with her or whatnot. So, like I said, that's why I wanted to come talk about it before I jumped to any conclusions. Now, do I think anything else is going to come out in the coming days, or, where's the situation going to go? I don't know. Maybe something does happen. I don't know, but I will say this. This shit ain't looking good for her. All right? It's not. It's really not. So, and people, they say surprise, or some, they say, oh, we're surprised at this or whatnot. Listen, man, it's been bullying and racism in wrestling for years, okay? So, this is not a surprise or whatnot. The only difference is that it's all over the internet nowadays or whatnot. So, I don't know what's going to be next in this whole entire little saga or whatnot, but I guess all we can do is sit and wait to what we see. What we see about this in a few days, unless someone else responds about something. But my overall thought about it, like I said, she did that shit in Japan and spit on that girl. Yeah, she can fuck off. Like, serious, fuck off if you really did that shit over there. And it's not even, it is like recent. It's like 2-3 years ago in Japan, and the person that this happened to said it with people that accused her of this. Okay, so we'll see what happens next and after that. But like I said at the beginning, I just kind of found it strange that this happened 24 hours before the pay-per-view, okay? That's the only strange thing. I thought that was kind of, now this kind of overshadowed it and whatnot from people that was going to watch Hard to Kill in general and whatnot. But, that's my take on it. I just wanted to say something about this whole thing since it's been going on all over the weekend. That's all I can really say from what's so far. Unless something is updated I don't know about, please inform me about it or whatnot. But, that's what I had to say, just kind of going over the whole story and what was being said here. And then I'm just going off what I read and some of my own opinion on this shit too. So, but now let's move into the Hard to Kill pay-per-view itself. Yes, Dallas, Texas, Josh Matthews, Don Callis on commentary. First match we kick off the show with is Ken Shamrock versus Madman Fulton. After they did a video package, I will say the stage looks a little bit bigger. I will say that. Crowd was very lively, which is actually a really good crowd tonight too. I think I said that before, before I went to the first part of this review. But this was a very, very good crowd out here tonight. Dallas, Texas was very lively, and I don't know if the crowd was mic'd up well or not, but they were very excited to be there, and they looked like they had a really fun time tonight watching this show in general. Okay, so it looks like they enjoyed themselves. Now, if we can get this crowd going to get a little bit more hype during the tapings of these shows, or I don't know if Access or Impact is miking the crowd well enough, but that's the energy I want to see, like I saw at Bound for Glory. That's what I like to see, the crowd actually lively and into this stuff, and they were tonight, so I thought they were really good out there. I don't know if it was a full house or not, but it looked pretty full though. But as I was saying, Madman Fulton versus Ken Shamrock, OVE, or just Jake Chris was out there with him at first. I will say this was a better match or whatnot I've seen from Ken Shamrock. Is it better than the Moose one? Yes, it is. Now, I know some people are going to say, oh, Ken Shamrock should not be, in the ring just because he's like 50-something. But he looks in incredible shape, though, okay? I will say that. A lot of submission style from, of course, Shamrock. He went for a suicide dive into Fulton. Fulton caught him. Tried to get him with a suplex, but it still looked pretty bad or whatnot. Jake Chris tried to get involved. Dave Chris, distracted Shamrock, but the referee took both out, the Chris brothers. Fulton pretty much had got Shamrock's arm, then taking it out. Fulton started no-selling his punches. He went for his end of days, but Shamrock pretty much reversed that into a Kimura arm lock. Shamrock wouldn't let go, and basically he dislocated Madman Fulton's shoulder. The referee looked like he was going to stop the match, but Fulton says don't stop it. He put his thumb thing up like, Callihan does with the thumbs up, thumbs down like Callihan does. And Fulton pretty much says, let's do it. Come on, I'm not done. Bring it on. And, he tried to roll Shamrock up, but Shamrock ended up putting him in the rings of Saturn. Madman Fulton ended up tapping out to Shamrock. Then now, I can tell you right now, a lot of people are going to complain about this because either A, I just thought Fulton was going to go over because he is the monster of this group or whatnot. Now, do I think this match was bad? Not really. I thought this was actually a better Shamrock match, whatnot, maybe because he was working with. But, he went for a lot of submissions and that tried to do a lot of crazy stuff like jumping out the ring other than that one suicide dive or whatnot. But Fulton, in a way, I don't think they protected him that much. Did he have an out? Okay, his shoulder was dislocated, so he couldn't get out of it. But I guess they want to give Shamrock some credibility. But Fulton's supposed to be like the tough monster guy right now, so like you would put him over in this whole thing. That's what I would expect them to do. But I guess that that's not going to happen or whatnot. But maybe we'll see the next time we see from this whatnot, because I look at this. I'll put Fulton over before you put no, he didn't put him on. He didn't put that idiot Joey Ryan over. He put Moose over, so that wasn't bad. But like I said, this wasn't a bad match. I just kind of felt like Fulton could have just got the win if you're making this guy to be a big monster of the OVE group. Next, though, we had Ace Austin versus Trey Miguel for the X Division Championship. Trey's mom was out there, of course, in the crowd or whatnot. This is a very good match, I will say, between Austin and Miguel out there. One thing I do like is, Austin using that card thing he usually does or whatnot. The whole cutting the thing, whatnot is pretty good. So I don't know, I still like the card thing for some reason. Of course, Miguel was going in on Austin. Austin, trying to get away from Miguel. Miguel pretty much hit him with a dive to the outside. They basically got back in the ring. Of course, they started getting some chops on each other, really big. Trey pretty much hit some, strikes to him then. Got him with a kick, went for the 2 count then. Ace Austin pretty much says, my ear's hurting. After he does suplex onto the outside of the ring, his ear hurt. But, Ace hit Trey in pretty much with some side suplexes out there. He hit him with some kicks. Austin pretty much got back in control, hit a double stomp on him, taking him out then. Shoulder blocked him then. He hit the bangerang then, or the bangerama or whatnot. Pretty much a final cut, the suplex and everything. But, excuse me, Trey pretty much went back for him, but Ace was able to take him down, get another 2 count on him. Trey got out of the full Nelson then, pretty much with a big shotgun kick to the back of his head. Trey pretty much had the upper hand on him, got him with a cargo kick, got him with a roundhouse. Ace, he went for the meteor, but Ace got out of the way. Trey got him with a big suplex then a dragon sleeper, which I actually thought that was pretty cool though. He got a reverse suplex, transition to a dragon sleeper. Ace was able to get out of it with his forearm then. He was going to go for the fold, but Trey got out of it. Got him with a springboard, flatliner, and pretty much got him with a springboard kick. Put him up to the top rope. Cheeky Nando, 619. Trey was about to go for the finish then, but Ace was able to knock him off the top rope then, and got with a crazy Frankensteiner on him then. Looked like it was like with one leg at one point, but it still looked pretty cool. Ace ended up hitting the fold, going over clean, defeating Trey Miguel. A very good match between both Miguel and Ace Austin. I will say Trey was more serious here, not the crazy stoner high joke or whatnot. So it looked like he was keeping it down the middle and just going with Ace Austin, not making any high jokes or anything or 420 weed stuff or whatnot. So at least they kind of kept this feud a bit serious. I know some people may not like because it's over his mom and everything, but that's Ace Austin trying to be the sleazy heel out there and whatnot. Pretty much right after then, as his mom was pretty much kind of consoling Trey, Ace Austin pretty much like wanted a kiss from her, but Trey came back out and attacked Ace Austin, started beating him up on the ground. The Rascals and Rhino Scum and referees pretty much came out to break it up. So it looks like this feud does continue with Miguel and Austin out there. So very good match, does continue the story or whatnot. We'll see what happens, but still, very, very enjoyable match though. I will say that for the X Division title. They interview ODB in the back, pretty much talking about the donations and everything for her food truck. And, it's been a rough year for her, but she's going to have a better one. Triple Threat Knockouts Championship on the line. ODB, Jordan Grace, and Cruella DeVille out there, or Taya Valkyrie. Johnny Bravo title on the line. People start to chant food truck because ODB's food truck. ODB was over in this match. A lot of people chanted for her throughout the entire time. But this was a good match, though. I will say that. Grace is a beast, especially with them freaking suplexes out there. Pretty much hit Taya with a spine buster, going for the 2. Got a German suplex on her. ODB was able to break it up then. Got away half crab. Grace got out of it. Tried to get a sleeper on ODB. But ODB pretty much, tried to pin her in and whatnot. Trying to break it up. Taya came back and hit a Grace for the knee. ODB pretty much getting the upper hand then. But she had tripped up. Or Grace came back and hit a big senton from the top rope then on her, but Taya was able to break it up and whatnot. She was gonna go for the roll to Valhalla on Jordan Grace, but Jordan Grace got out of it then. ODB pretty much took Taya out with a Samoan drop. Grace took both of them out then with the Vader bomb as ODB had the pin. But Grace hit ODB with the Grace driver, which looks deadly, by the way. But before she could even get the 3 count, of course, Johnny Bravo gets involved. He distracted the referee then, and whatnot. Taya pretty much was able to steal the pin as Grace was distracted, because Grace, pretty much Johnny Bravo grabbed Grace's leg. Taya pretty much went in, stole the pin, got ODB, so she retained her championship. Now, I know a person I know is probably going to be pissed about that because Taya is still champion. Now, I will say this. I actually thought Taya was actually going to lose the title right here to Jordan Grace, but I think they want to save that for a one-on-one. That's most likely why she was not pinned and that Johnny Bravo got involved. So, in a way, I figure ODB was going to take the pinfall right here. Because if Jordan Grace would have lost that title, I think a lot of people thought she was either going to go to WWE with her husband right now, John Morrison and whatnot, but I don't think that's happening anytime soon until she drops that belt. So the streak continues for Taya or whatnot, but this was still a good triple threat match. I will say that. So I'm not surprised ODB took the pinfall in all of this, because I figured Taya was going to retain the title one way and another. And I think they're just waiting for the big one-on-one, and probably be the next pay-per-view between Taya and Jordan Grace when that happens, though. Okay? They interviewed RVD next. RVD pretty much talked about his match with Cage, but of course he has to make out with his girlfriend most of the time. Daga came up. RVD said, "You looking for an autograph?" Daga said, "What did you say?" Couldn't really hear him. RVD pretty much didn't care what he had to say. Cut to the package, all right? That package. I'm pretty sure the package he's talking about. Let's cut to the video package. But RVD, which actually had new music this time, not his regular stuff he had in TNA, and I'm sure a lot of people are happy this way. I guess it works because he's a heel. I always found that song catchy. Of course, he comes out with his girlfriend and starts twerking everywhere. Brian Cage, I'm going to get to Brian Cage in a second after the news I just heard before I could even do this review tonight. Cage, of course, he came out, slapped hands with fans until I guess one fan wouldn't let go of his hand. It was RVD's, his girlfriend's girlfriend. So, Van Dam, he really does have two girlfriends out him. Hey, give him credit for that. Well, it's a lot of niggas that got two girlfriends, okay? It's not the first person to have it, but, hey, all power to him. But, RVD pretty much attacked Cage from behind then. RVD, he pretty much started taking out Cage, but Cage was able to get the, pretty much get him back with a kick or whatnot. Cage was going to hit RVD with a chair, but he got Van Daminated then. And then Katie Forbes held the chair to Cage's head. Van Dam hit the Van Terminator, and he took him out. So the bell never rings, so this was not even a match then. Cage was bleeding from his mouth, though, and referees went to, get him out of there and whatnot. So the match never happened. Next thing you know, Daga comes out then, and he pointed RVD. Pretty much he wanted a match. So we didn't even get the match with Brian Cage. We get the match now with RVD and Daga, which RVD was mostly dominant throughout this entire thing, to be honest. Even taking out Daga. Also, of course, you had to get him with his big moves and whatnot. RVD got him with a spinning heel kick, 5-star frog splash for the win. So he did defeat Daga. So in a way, this was a bait and switch. And then pretty much both his girlfriends got in the ring and started twerking then. So I don't know if his other girlfriend's ass is real, but I think a lot of people believe that Katie Forbes' shit looks either fake or plastic or whatnot. Don't know about the other girlfriend, no. But like I said, he gets a thumbs up for some reason from me. I don't know because I'm an RVD fan, but this guy proves he's that guy. For some reason, he's that guy for some reason. I don't know. Now, as for Brian Cage, though, to what I've heard tonight is that Cage, and it's been a lot of signings I've been hearing tonight, too, but Cage is now signed with AEW. The reports I'm hearing about tonight, he signed over there. To what I heard, Ring of Honor offered him a lot of money, but I think he went to AEW due to the exposure or whatnot. So, in a way, this is a significant loss for Impact, especially losing Brian Cage. I didn't know that was actually going to happen. That's probably why they did this tonight, because I'm like, okay, so Cage is not going to do the match with RVD. That's probably why they did that whole thing out there. I mean, it just did get RVD over as a heel, I will say that tonight, but I actually thought the match was going to happen again, but I guess now this may have been Cage's last night in the company, possibly, and he will be most likely going to AEW, pretty much after this. So, I will say this, since if Cage is, like I said, I'm just going by what I read, but, if he's really gone, I enjoyed Cage's time in the company. I think his run as world champion, I think it could have been better. The only problem with Cage's run as world champion, he was just hurt throughout most of the time, okay? Like, I'm not saying it wasn't his fault entirely. I know some people say he shouldn't have agreed not to take that Spanish fly from, Morrison last year at, Rebellion and whatnot, and he was gone. and then he fought Michael Elgin, then he was gone again, and so he became very non-existent as the champion of what now. I enjoyed him there. I did enjoy him for the time he was, but I guess we'll see what happens next with him. I guess he will be showing up on AEW next, but it's a good pick though. It's Brian Cage. Cage is great, so I was just surprised when I actually heard that before I went into this review. But next thing you know, Unbreakable Michael Elgin versus Eddie Edwards for the Call Your Shot trophy. Honestly, I probably would say this was probably the best match of the night. Crowd was really into this. Just like the match they had on Impact the other night. This was a very fun match to watch, though. I enjoyed this. Cage and Eddie beat the hell out of each other or whatnot. But, crowd was really into it. A lot of people on Eddie's side. Cage was just dominant, just even no-selling stuff. German suplex and went back for a big forearm on him that looked pretty deadly or whatnot. Because Eddie, I know he came back, he got him with the Blue Thunder Bomb for a 2 count. But next you know, Eddie pretty much was on the ground as Cage kept hitting him with them big forearms or whatnot. Eddie tried to come back and hit him with forearms, but Elgin kept knocking him down. They pretty much start going back with back and forth punches. But Eddie pretty much got Elgin with like a clothesline, knocking him inside out. He hit the Tiger Bomb on him, but still a 2 count then. Eddie pretty much reversed Elgin here with a Hurricane Rhino, who's going to go for the power bomb. Elgin pretty much came back with a kick and then, chopping him several times. He had Eddie on the ropes then, and everything on the top rope. And hit a big super German suplex on Eddie, which I actually thought it was over for a second. And then he went for like a Razor's Edge super power bomb, like a Razor's Edge power bomb for another 2 count then. Eddie just pretty much looking dead at this point. He tried to get Elgin into a submission, but Elgin pretty much got out of there. Elgin started chopping the hell out of him, even blocked his finisher or whatnot. Elgin got him with a crossface then, but Eddie got to the bottom ropes. Elgin started arguing with the referee then and whatnot, saying he tapped, but Elgin, next thing you know, he was gonna hit him with another clothesline, whatnot, and then he was gonna go for the buckle bomb, but Eddie was able to get out of it, the Elgin bomb then, and pretty much roll him up for the win. So a very great match out there with both of these guys. I didn't know how they were gonna have Eddie go over to keep his Call Your Shot trophy, but I guess getting the last minute fluke win was, the way to go. I don't think it makes Michael Elgin look weak out here just because it was a surprise roll-up and everything, but a very great match between Elgin and Eddie Edwards, just like the one on Thursday. These guys were beating the hell out of each other, and I did enjoy this match, and the crowd really seemed to be into it too. Like I said, that is the big difference between this match tonight and the one on Thursday. The crowd was more into it here, because it was still a great match, just you couldn't really hear anything. I don't know if that's the audio issues in that, or just the fans themselves, but tonight, though, you could hear the crowd clearly, and they were very into this match of how great it was out there. Next thing you know, next match. Macho Man Moose Savage out there, looking like the Macho Man for some reason. Went against Rhino in a no DQ match. I will say one thing about Impact on this pay-per-view tonight. Everyone loves to say fuck you or fuck for some reason throughout the entire night. Because I think Rhino said no fucks given tonight. And this was a no disqualification, of course. Basically a hardcore match or whatnot. I kind of figured who was going to win this. Because, Moose ended up powerbombing. He was trying to powerbomb Rhino through a table, but it did not work. Rhino pretty much was able to reverse that, putting Moose through the table. Fans chanting ECW, of course. Moose pretty much trying to go back at Rhino, hit him with a trash can lid. He hit a running senton on him, because the first thing throughout the match, he hit the spear early on, I should say that too, and whatnot, before he took him out. He hit a big Macho Man, Randy Savage elbow drop. Fans chanted Randy Savage, since his gear looked like Savage's. Moose pretty much started like Macho Man. I don't know where he was acting like Macho Man for. I didn't understand that, but he did for some reason wearing his gear. But Rhino pretty much came back in, trying to take him out. He had a chair. He piled some chairs into the ring. Is this what you want? Then and whatnot. For some reason, I don't know why he was middle fingering the crowd near the end, but he did that too. But Rhino's gonna gore him through the table, but Moose dodged it. He hit him with some drop kicks. Moose said "fuck you" to the crowd, or just "fuck you, Rhino." But Rhino hit him with a big clothesline then, and Next thing you know, before he could hit that spear on Moose through the table that was set in the corner, Moose used the referee as a shield or whatnot to cushion himself. So the ref was down in and whatnot until another referee came in. But Rhino would only get the 2. Rhino pretty much put up the middle fingers then. Moose hit him in the nuts. He hit him with one more spear, and he got the win. So, this match was okay. A little bit odd for some reason, because I don't know why Moose was Macho Man there. It's like, hey man, Jay Lethal's not in this company anymore, right? We don't have another Black Machismo here. And I've seen people that dress like Macho Man before, but I didn't understand why he was that. The match with Rhino itself wasn't as bad, really. Of course, this was a hardcore match and whatnot, but it wasn't really that bad as, some would imagine and whatnot, but it was pretty good. I will say that, but the crowd did seem to like it. So, like I said before, the crowd had a lot of good energy throughout here. But next, we went to the tag team match. It was supposed to be the North versus the Mac and Rich Swann for the tag titles, but I guess they had something from that Impact Plus show, the whatever brewery thing the other day. Rich Swann got hurt, so the referee or whatnot, Dr. Ariel, pretty much said, you can't come out there tonight, you're in no condition to. Rich Swann said, just let me walk out and support him, but he says, no, you're staying in the back. I know what you'll do if you go out. You'll go out and help the Mac. So the Mac pretty much went on to say, like, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to go win those titles for us and whatnot. So basically it became a handicap match. This was a very good handicap match too, okay? Very good handicap match, and I was wondering how this was going to go since Swann was out. How was, how was Mac going to do this on his own? But Mac was able to hold his own out there, too, to take him out. One thing he did was, he kicked out of their finisher. I do know that, because they did that, it was like a neutralizer or whatnot, or like a double neutralizer on the Mac, but the Mac was able to kick out of it. He was able to fight them off. And one thing I did like, probably the coolest spot in this match, though, was when, they're on the top rope, and, Josh Alexander was holding Ethan Page or whatnot. You think it may look like a doomsday device. Like, he's holding Ethan Page up on his arms, Josh Alexander, and Moose just hits a super Canadian Destroyer. And I know I've said that they've killed the Canadian Destroyer at this point, but just to see a Canadian Destroyer like that when someone's holding somebody and he just hits the Canadian Destroyer from the top rope onto Ethan Page, that looked cool. I'll admit that. That looked really cool then. Cool right there. But Moose was able to take out Alexander. He hit a frog splash on him. He was going to go for the 3, but of course Page pulled the referee in or whatnot. Mac went after Page then. He was able to hit a Stone Cold Stunner on him. Alexander tried to stop, but he got a Stone Cold Stunner on him also. But the North was able to take down the Mac then and hit him with their that Burning Hammer Spinebuster finisher to take him out. Then after they did some combo moves on him. So a very good match, though. The crowd was behind the Mac, because I think they almost thought the Mac was actually going to win the tag titles at one point. I didn't really see that happening, but this was still pretty good. And, the Mac pretty much, he showed hard out there and fought with everything he could on his own or whatnot without Rich Swann, as he looked disappointed on the TV in the back. So this was good. This continues the story. I still don't know who's turning heel between this. I think Mac is still going to turn on Swann, but I could be thinking a little bit different now after what I saw tonight. Or maybe he still could, since he had to fight on his own without Swann's help. Because before, if you look in video packages or whatnot, Mac was kind of doubting himself. Like, hey man, you got the rocket ship right now. I'm just kind of holding you back. But now this could be a different thing now. What could happen next if, the Mac does turn heel and that. But this was a very good handicap match, though. I will say that. It did, I'll say this, it did help the Mac, though, but in one way. Because the crowd was actually over with him, so that was good. They announced the next pay-per-view, Rebellion, coming in April. I think it's coming to New York, not in what was it called, the Melrose Ballroom, but somewhere else this time. And whatnot. But next, we go into the main event. Sami Callihan versus Tessa Blanchard for the world title. And what was going to happen here after both of them came out? Of course, they announced the introductions for both of them for this title match. And listen, I've said this before when I've seen these two wrestle. Number one, I know everyone's not going to be a fan of the intergender style of wrestling, and I can understand why. Because there's some people that do like this, but there are some people that do not like this whole, the man versus woman thing for many, many reasons that I can tell some of them right now. But this match here, this is actually a really good match. A very good match. And, it actually had everybody moving. I'm not going to lie. This was a great match itself. Honestly, not Swan, but Sami Callihan there, I felt like they were about to turn him face if you've been looking at the video packages lately or whatnot. But, of course, Sami Callihan, he's a great heel out there. And, especially going against Tessa. Of course, they both pie face each other. One thing Callihan was focusing on throughout this entire match was Tessa's, leg or whatnot. And everything. Because, one thing Tessa tried to do was hit a suicide dive to the outside. But, Sami caught her and hit her with a, he threw her into the barricade while holding her in like a powerbomb thing. Sami hit Tessa with a beer cup then, and then started, suplex Tessa's knee into the barricade. Like I said, they're focusing on the leg or whatnot. Of course, Sami's got to do his whole loogie thing and whatnot. But, which, by the way, was still on his face, too. Very disgusting, by the way. But, he starts slamming Tessa's leg into the turnbuckle. He started putting submission move, putting it in Indian deathlock, and he just focusing on the knee. A lot of it was focusing on the knee though. Tessa was able to get out of it though and whatnot, fighting back. But once Sami went back focusing on the leg again. He said, "This is my fucking house, bitch." He pretty much hit a bonsai drop on it in. Tessa was able to get out of it and knock Sami to the outside. But next thing you know, she tried to slap Sami Callihan, but he just no-sold the chops then. He did another loogie then or whatnot, which was still hanging off his face. And Tessa, she was going to go for Tessa tried to go for a powerbomb, but, Tessa escaped it. Tessa pretty much went for a cannonball, but Sami was able to catch it in. Powerbomb through the table. Fans started going insane. They get back up before the 10 count. Sami pretty much said, "Fuck you, bitch," to someone in the crowd. And next he dared Tessa to hit her then. And whatnot. Sami still no-sold. He hit her back. Tessa said, "Give me all you got." They start going back and forth with the punches and everything. And Sami pretty much did the thumb thing there to face then. But Tessa was able to pretty much, they fought on, like I said, they fought in the apron. Tessa was able to hit Sami with a magnum or whatnot, but her knee was still hurt. The knee was still hurt. They still got up before the 10 count again. After on the ground, they pretty much got into the ring then. Sami went back to punching her, once again focusing back on the knee. It was a lot of the knee and everything, but Tessa was still able to try to come back and everything. Tessa pretty much ended up hitting a Samoan drop, which once again she couldn't even almost hold Sami up because of the knee again, and she hit him with a magnum then, whatnot, and she hit went for a third magnum then throughout this match, but it still did not work. Sami pretty much countered, hit her with a big shoulder breaker or whatnot, or the get out of here he calls it. He hit her with a Tessa, he hit Tessa with a German suplex. She no-sold it once again, hitting a big, diamond cutter on him. Sami pretty much hit a powerbomb then. Tessa still kicked out. He was frustrated. He went back for the submission holds again, trying to keep her away from the rope, but her leg ended up hitting the rope then. Tessa got her foot on the rope, but Sami pretty much went back again on that knee. And he had got the title and everything, but the referee took it away. Sami had some brass knuckles then, but Tessa was pretty much able to block it and knock the knucks out of his hands. Tessa ended up hitting him in the nuts. She didn't hit him with a big magnum from the top rope. Sami still kicked out. Tessa went for the crossface and everything, but Sami was able to get out of the hole, hit her with the cactus special, the power driver. Tessa still kicked out then. Sami was still pissed. Sami was going to go for his finisher again, but Tessa ended up going for a pin in and whatnot. It did not work. She started hitting some punches on him. Sami came back with a kick, but Tessa came back with a Canadian Destroyer. She went for another Canadian Destroyer from the second rope or the Panama Sunrise or whatnot. Tessa ended up doing the Hammerlock DDT for the win and became the new world champion after that. So the crowd was pretty much with her then and whatnot as they went off the air. and everything, which even though they still had some more time left, I actually thought something was about to happen here. Tessa ended up winning the world title. Now, there's a lot of things that can be said throughout this match. I actually thought the match was really good, okay? The match was great. Like I said, everyone's not going to like that intergender style of wrestling, but for some reason, these two actually make it work. Now, one thing I do not like is Sami Callihan's run with the world title. I actually wanted Callihan to win this match because I think he needed the title longer, if you ask me. I think he... it's like they immediately went into the Tessa thing again as soon as he won the world title, and I felt like that was the beginning of the end for him in a way. Now, do I think this feud could continue and have a rematch? Most likely, because honestly, I just want Sam. I just kind of want Sammy to go over, because I just felt like they were either making it to a face, or I thought it was going to be some screwy thing into all of this too. But you didn't see any OVE out there; they didn't come help, so it's not like the finish was overbooked or whatnot. Tessa went over clean. Now, like I said, there's some people that are probably going to say that I'm not talking about Impact with you anymore because it doesn't make sense. You know, they put the world title on a woman, and yeah, I can understand that too or whatnot. And, you know, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to, you know, talk on the match, then, you know, separate it, you know, from what I said earlier with the whole allegations or whatnot. Because people wondered, A, were they going to go through and put the belt on her, or B, just not do it because of all the backlash. And I don't know if it's going to be backlash after this for her, you know, putting the world title on her and, you know, due to all the stuff that happened over the weekend. Like, I already had my reasons before why I feel like they didn't need to put the belt on Tessa Blanchard to begin with. But this story's been going on for a while, for almost like 6-7 months now. They've been doing this since last year. You know, I can go back before Slammiversary 2 when this whole match happened. It's just now it came to the world title. Do I think it's over? I don't know. Because, like I said, I just felt like they really rushed this. Well, not rushed, but really put her in that title spot as soon as Sami Callihan won the belt, you know, a few months ago when they got on Access TV, whatnot, you know, right after Bound for Glory and everything. So, I don't know. I'm sure it'll be a rematch, most likely at Rebellion. Like I said, I enjoyed the match. I actually thought it was pretty great, okay? But, like I said before, intergender wrestling is not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Because, honestly, the last time I saw a woman win the title, actually the world champion, I think it was when Lucha Underground was going on, and Sexy Star won it, which, in a way, I still think that didn't make a lot of sense, because, okay, 125-pound girl beats giant Jack to the Gills, Mil Mascaras and I'm not Mil Mascaras, Mil Muertes at the time, and Lucha Underground for the Lucha Underground title or whatnot. You know, some people say it really works here, and, you know, my neighbor said this too, it's kind of work, because Sami Callihan ain't really the biggest person. I think Sami Callihan is great as a wrestler on a promo, but he ain't the biggest person out there. I think that's why it's always worked between him and Tessa or whatnot, than putting Tessa against a Brian Cage or just a giant in general, okay, because a lot of people are not either going to like it or it's just not going to work. I just feel like it's worked with Callihan because I don't know if it's the size or whatnot or something, but these two know how to put on a great match between each other. I will say that. But what is the next thing for this? I don't know what's going to be next, you know, next for everything. Will they keep the belt on her really long, or will she have it until the next pay-per-view? Or does Impact going to do something about this whole thing that's been going over on the weekend, just with all the whole accusations and whatnot, the whole Twitter thing with Tessa? Will they do something about that? I don't know. It's just a lot that fans were talking about. Okay, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If she wins the title, someone's going to complain. If she don't win the title, someone's going to complain on the internet. So it's a lot of things that are going to happen. I know this has been the idea for a while for the Callihan versus Sami, because I actually thought plans were about to change, but it looks like it's not changing. So we'll see what happens next. I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see how long Tessa does hold the belt, but I still believe it will be a rematch between her and Sami Callihan. Overall, I thought this was actually a very good, solid show. I thought it was great. It didn't suck. It wasn't bad or anything. I enjoyed Elgin and Eddie Edwards a lot. I thought that was a great match. I enjoyed the tag team match, or I should say handicap match, between the North versus the Mac out there. What else was going on here in this show? The RVD thing wasn't bad, but it just was kind of odd when they sent Dog out there and Cage couldn't really do a match. That was kind of one of the things I didn't really like, is how they did that. But after what I explained about Cage earlier, that may have been the reason why all that happened then. The women's triple threat was pretty good. I expected Taya to retain. Ace Austin and Trey Miguel was a pretty good match, too, for what it was. Story still continues on that. Shamrock, you could take Shamrock, you like him or you hate him, or you're going to say he's too old or whatnot. I thought he was better than what he did at Bound for Glory and everything, but I still think Fulton could have went over. But, you know, overall, I thought this was a very good show. It was actually fun to watch. Crowd was not dead. I will give them that. This crowd was not dead through this show. So at least that's one another positive thing I can think through throughout this Hard to Kill review. The crowd's actually into it. So I don't know what's gonna happen next, probably at the next tapings or whatnot, but we'll see what happens on Impact with this. But overall, this is my review of Hard to Kill. Comment, subscribe, tell me what you think about this show in general. Did you like Hard to Kill tonight from Impact? What are your thoughts on, I guess, the Tessa controversy, you know, the whole Twitter thing going on over the weekend? What's your take on that? And, you know, just tell me what you thought about this show in general, okay? What do you think about Hard to Kill tonight and what Impact had on, okay? But, you know, other than that, that's my show, you know, blah, 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 etc., you know, have lifetime, blah, 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 you know, whatever. But, like I said, check out any review that is online right now. We did do a NXT UK takeover earlier, like a few hours ago, so please check out that review too, or check out any review that is posted online right now. But, other than that, I am done with this Hard to Kill review. Like I said, comment, subscribe. I don't need to keep repeating myself from this. I'm out of here. Because I'm going to get this. This should be on later on tonight, though, when it's edited out. But I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.